In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth.
So I wanted to make a quick video. I know it's been a while since I made a video, but I'm just looking at everything that's going on around the world and how we're still, coincidentally, I don't think so, but we're still in the middle of this whole coronavirus thing. You know, they said 2 weeks to flatten the curve, and it's been like, I don't even know how many months, 15 months. Everything is just lining up so perfectly to what we know is going to happen and what the Bible says. Everything's just lining up. We kind of see like all the puzzle pieces coming together and slowly aligning to what we know will be the end of times. And as Christians, I feel like one of the things we lack understanding in is the end of times. The Bible tells us exactly when. The last week, Daniel's last week, the tribulation period is going to start. And I believe we're going to be here for that. So this is the final nail in the coffin. This is the last second on the apocalyptic clock. First, I want to read Matthew 24, verse 32 to 35. It says, "Now learn the parable of the fig tree. When his branch is yet tender, and putteth forth leaves, ye know that summer is nigh. So likewise ye shall see all these things." What things? We'll read Matthew 24. Jesus literally tells us what sign. What are the things that are going to occur before he comes back? I mean, his disciples ask him, "Lord, when is the end of the age? What are the signs of your coming?" And well, he responds and he tells them, "Hey, this is what's going to happen before I come." So you can read Matthew 24 on that. There's a video that I'll put a link up to that you can watch. I kind of explain a little bit of what those signs are. And if you don't believe we're in the last days, well, you better get prepared. "So likewise, ye, when ye shall see all these things, know that is near, even at the doors." I mean, when you see all these things, it's literally a matter of seconds. "Verily I say unto you, this generation shall not pass." And this is very important, and we'll see why. "Till all these things be fulfilled, heaven and earth shall pass, but my words shall not pass away." So this generation shall not pass. Jesus himself tells us exactly what are the signs that we need to be on the lookout for before his second coming. But who is this olive tree? See, the Bible's pretty clear and very detailed and very specific, and it talks about this olive tree. And we know that this olive tree is, well, Israel. Israel is the olive tree. And you can find this throughout the Bible. I'm not going to explain it too much, but clearly we know that the olive tree is Israel. So clearly, if it's talking about Israel, it's talking about this generation. Well, it's talking about the generation of Israel. But which generation? Well, the last generation. But when does this generation, this last generation, begin? And when does it end? That should give us a clue of when Jesus Christ is coming back. Now, obviously, we don't know the day or the hour, which clearly Jesus Christ tells us this later on. We don't know the day or the hour, but he does say that once you start seeing these things come to pass, just like the olive tree, you start seeing that the leaves start to pop up, then you know that summer is near. Just like that, we're going to know that Jesus Christ is coming. We won't know the day or the hour, but we will definitely know the season. So don't just get caught up in, oh, we won't know the day or the hour, therefore we don't need to figure it out. Well, we don't know the day or the hour, but you will definitely know the season. And actually, we need to figure out, first of all, how long is a generation? And actually, Psalms 90 tells us specifically how long is a generation. It says, the first verse, "Lord, thou hast been our dwelling place in all generations." So it's clearly talking about generations here. And then in verse 10 it says, the days of our years are 80 years and 10, and by reason of strength they be 80 years. And weirdly enough, it talks about, well, flying away, right? What we get to know as the rapture. You know, maybe I'm looking too much into it, but it's kind of clear right here. It says, yet is their strength labor in sorrow, for it is soon cut off, and we fly away. So, you know, maybe there's something there. But we know how long a generation is, and the Bible clearly tells us right here that it's 80 years and 10. So 1 score is 20 years. So you do your math, and it's about 70 years. And if by reason and by strength, it says they may be 80 years, so 80 years, so 70 to 80 years. And we know we're talking about Israel here. So what generation? Well, the generation of Israel now. But when did that generation start? We know for a fact, historically, in 70 AD, the Romans took over Israel, and they, just like Jesus prophesied, they destroyed everything pretty much. And then Israel lost control. The Jewish people lost control of Israel and of the Holy Land and stuff. So that's just a historical fact in 70 AD. And they don't get their land back until 1948. 1948, literally 1948. So if we do a little bit of math, we can figure out that this generation will end in anywhere from 2018 to 2028. And that's another fact why we don't know the day or the hour, because we don't know if, God willing, they last 80 years or 70 or 75 or anything in between. So, we don't know the day or the hour, but we know that it's going to be 2018 or 2028. That's the end of this generation. And God himself says it, the earth, everything shall pass, but my word shall not pass. So clearly his word tells us this generation shall not pass. I mean, we're seeing the things that this generation was foretold to see before Jesus Christ comes back, right? And like I said, read Matthew 24 in order for you to find out what those things are. But Israel is God's prophetic time clock. So we need to look at Israel to figure out when he's coming back. God doesn't do anything without revealing it to his prophets first, and his prophets obviously wrote it down on his book, so we can read it and understand what times we are in. And we're clearly in the last fractions, milliseconds of history. So we're so close. We're so close. So what starts the last 7 years? See, what happened was there were 70 weeks of Daniel, and you can read Daniel for yourself on that. And then there's 1 week left, and this is what we call the 7-year tribulation. 1 week, 7 years. So the last 7 years, when do they start? How do we know they have started? How do we know that they haven't started already? Well, we know because of Daniel 9:27. Because Daniel 9:27 tells us when exactly this last week or the last 7 years, the tribulation period is going to start. So the tribulation period will not start until the things in Daniel 9:27 take place first. That's when we will know, hey, start the clock. This happened already, start the clock 7 years from then, boom, everything's done. Now, to the day, I don't know, because we don't know the day or the hour, but we will know the season. And it says, he shall confirm the covenant with many for 1 week, 7 years. And in the midst of the week, he shall cause a sacrifice and the oblation to cease, and for the overspreading of abominations, and he shall make it desolate. So, abomination of desolation. We read it also in Matthew 24, and then we'll also read it in 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, verse 1 through 5 later on. It says, and for the overspreading of abominations, and he shall make it desolate, and even until the consummation and determination, and that determined shall be poured upon the desolate. So, basically, this Antichrist guy is going to confirm, listen to what it says right there, read very carefully, it says confirm a covenant. And then when you look at the actual Greek and the actual meanings of the words and blah, 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 too much, lingo and stuff, but when you look at the actual meaning of the word, it means to make better, to confirm, to make something's already established, is going to make it better. Kind of like when you confirm an appointment with a doctor, right? You already had the appointment scheduled, but somebody calls you and they're just waiting to confirm to see if you can actually make it. Well, it's exactly what it means. He's going to confirm something that's already been established. And I believe that this covenant was already established. Now this Antichrist guy is going to come save the day from coronavirus, from everything, and he's going to make it better. He's going to confirm it. He's going to make it complete it. So when this Antichrist guy, when this political figure, or wherever he's going to be, whatever he is going to be, once you see this, and this is going to be big news, you're not going to miss this, okay? When he confirms a covenant for 7 years, and it includes something about the temple, building another temple, the third temple. They haven't had the chance to build another temple because of all the stuff that are going on right now, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. But when they confirm a covenant for 7 years, and this covenant allows them to build the third temple, because in order for the temple to be desolate, in order for there to be an abomination, there has to be a temple. This decree, this confirmation is going to allow them to build the temple. So when you hear that, start your clocks. This is the last week of Daniel, the last prophetic week of Daniel. But I know what you're thinking, oh, well, we're not going to be here for that. We know that the rapture happens before that, and we know that the rapture can happen any moment, right? Well, I don't believe that at all. In fact, I don't think I've ever believed that. And I come from a denomination that teaches that. But I don't believe that. I don't believe we're going to be raptured out of nowhere. I believe we're going to have to endure till the end. And we was talking about that, enduring till the end, but we never understand that. That talks about us being in the tribulation period. And so the generation shall pass anywhere from 2018 to 2028. Now we have another piece of the puzzle now, that in order for this generation to pass, it needs to, first of all, see all the things that Matthew 24 talks about, which we're clearly seeing them right now. I mean, obviously. But we also need to see the last week of Daniel be fulfilled and start This generation shall not pass until all these things come to pass. The abomination of desolation, Matthew 24, talks about that. But as a church, we are going to be here for sure. And everything will start, I believe, very, very soon. 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, verse 1 through 5 says, Now we beseech you, brethren, by the coming of our Lord Jesus Christ. The coming of our Lord Jesus Christ. I mean, that's kind of obvious, right? And by our gathering unto him. What does that mean? Well, the rapture, the gathering unto him, our gathering unto him. He's talking to Christians, right? New believers. That ye be not soon shaken in mind, or be troubled neither by spirit, nor by word, nor by letter, as from us, as the day of Christ is at hand. Now remember, there's a day of the Lord and the day of Christ. The day of Christ is the rapture. The day of the Lord is the 1,000-year period. So it's clearly talking about the rapture. It's clearly talking about the day of Christ, when our gathering unto him. Let no man deceive you by any means. And I believe we have been deceived into thinking that we're going to get out of this. Everything's going to be fine. We're just going to be raptured out of here. No, I don't believe that whatsoever. We're going to have to endure till the end. So, fasten your seatbelts and get on and keep your hands and feet in the vehicle at all times, because it's going to get very rough. It says, For that day shall not come. What day? The rapture, the day of Christ, shall not pass, except there come a falling away first. We're clearly seeing that. A lot of people have left. I mean, hundreds of people have left. Thousands of people, millions of people have left the church, right? There come a falling away first, and that the man of sin be revealed. Who? The Antichrist, right? The son of perdition, who opposed and exalted himself above all that is called God or that is worshipped, so that he as God sitteth in the temple of God. Is there a temple yet? No, right? That's why we read Daniel 9:27. There has to be a decree, a confirmation that allows him to build a temple of God, showing himself that he is God. That's clearly talking about the abomination of desolation. Daniel 9:27. So we're going to be here. And the time clock is the last generation, which we now know that the generation is Israel, because their generation was reborn. Their country was reborn in 1948. After a 6-day war, on the 7th day they rested. There's a preaching in there somewhere. So the country was born in 1948, and ever since then, you add 70 or 80 years, anything between there, the generation will end, according to what the Bible tells us. So basically, we're definitely living in the end of days. I mean, I don't know if you believed that we were going to get out of this coronavirus, right, in 2 weeks to flatten the curve, but we're not going to get out of this. This is all a plan, in reality. And I've been saying that for a while, but, a lot of people are just calling you conspiracy theories, whatever. But all these things are coming to pass. Everything's just coming to pass, Everything's coming to pass. I mean, the whole world is kneeling down to this virus. Weirdly enough, in Revelation chapter 6, it talks to us about the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. The first horseman comes in a white horse, and he carries a bow, but with no arrows. But he's given a crown, a crown. We know corona is the Latin word or Spanish word for crown, right? And I might be looking way too much into this, but weirdly enough, we are seeing that this whole coronavirus, this white horse is conquering the whole world easily without needing any arrows, because he has a crown. So everything's just coming to pass. All of the puzzle pieces are coming together finally. And we're starting to see this. So either A, maybe this is a precursor to what is going to happen and much worse later on in the future, or B, this is it. I think this is probably it. And if the generation ends in 2028, I don't like to put any dates or anything, but man, we're really close to a tribulation period starting soon, perhaps maybe even this year. I don't know. We will see. But one thing is for sure, we got to be vigilant. We got to look at that fig tree. We got to look to see if the leaves are coming out, because when the leaves are starting to come out, that means that summer is very, very near. And I believe summer is very, very near. Just look at what's going on right now in Israel. I mean, literally right now. It's insane. Everything's just blowing up, literally and metaphorically. Everything's just going insane. And weirdly enough, it's over the Temple Mount in that area, right? And the Giza Strip and whatever. So we need to get prepared, really. I mean, do you not see the signs around you? The economy is just breaking down. The rushing of this digital economy, through Bitcoin or whatever. I mean, everything's just lining up. And if you think this is just a false alarm, man, I hope it is, because I had plans, but God interrupted our plans, and God is telling us, hey, you better get serious, son, because man, everything's just coming to pass. Everything, absolutely everything. I mean, get ready. What are you waiting for? What are we waiting for? Just get ready. I'll see you guys next time.